The studio was thick with quiet, the kind that strains time and presses against your skin. The cameras were rolling already, their red lights weakly beating in the soft light of the set. A soul spotlight lit the stage's center, throwing Kody Brown and Suki Krishnan in sharp relief against the shadows. Kody sat rigidly, stiffly unnatural, as if preparing for impact. His fists were tightly clenched on his thighs, his jaw clenched every few seconds, pulsing with observable tension. Sweat speckled the edges of his neatly combed, thinning hair. He blinked frequently, but remained silent. Sitting across from him, Suki sat quietly, her face inscrutable. The same serene, inquiring figure that had cajoled confessions, sobs, and even instances of remorse out of the most recalcitrant members of the Brown clan. But today was different. Under Kody's silence, there was something volatile, something tense, waiting to spring. Hi everyone. Welcome to my channel, Suki whispered gently, her words intended to calm, not upset. She looked down at her notebook and went on. Kody, your relationship with Robyn has been the subject of intense fan debate and commentary from your adult children. Most feel it's changed the entire dynamic of your family, financially, emotionally, and otherwise. Some even claim she's had a direct impact on major decisions. How do you feel about that? It wasn't a familiar question. Kody had heard it 1,000 times. But there was something about it today. Maybe the evenness of her tone or the judgment built up over years that caught him. Perhaps it was an understanding that no matter how he answered, the world was already decided. His face changed, confusion, then anger. His nostrils flared, his lips compressed. No, he said, not spoken, but growled. No, Suki, I'm not doing this again. He sprang to his feet, and his chair scraped violently backward. The mic clipped to his shirt pulled taut. The entire studio froze. You spin everything around to make me the bad guy, he snapped, his voice rising. You make the others saints and turn me into some egomaniac. Christine leaves and you say she's brave. Janelle receives accolades for being independent and strong. And Meri? She checks out emotionally for years, and then suddenly she's this tragic heroine. He released a laugh, dry, bitter. And Robyn, you all blame her like she's the cause of the whole thing falling apart, when all she ever did was struggle to keep the fragments together. Suki kept her cool, eyeing him narrowly, her brows furrowed slightly, a combination of sympathy and silent resolve. Her voice, when it came, was even and firm. Kody, I'm not twisting anything. These are not just my questions. Your audience, your children, your former wives have all voiced these concerns. Christine said she felt like a basement wife. She said your love was conditional. Janelle and Meri? Don't you dare, Kody snarled, his voice low and menacing. His eyes darted flames. Don't you psychoanalyze me with their words. You don't know. You weren't there. You have no idea what I sacrificed. He started to pace, flushed face, hips held in his hands. You built that family. You carried it. And they all just walked away. He turned, spat his next words venomously. And you sit there with your little notebook and that smooth voice, but you weren't there when I was doing everything I could to keep this deal alive. I pleaded with Meri not to emotionally check out of the marriage, but you weren't there, Kody retorted. I tried to get Christine to stop being upset over everything that wasn't about her, but you weren't there. And Janelle, she didn't even want to live in the same house. His eyes were glassy, wide, as he shifted to directly face the camera. His voice cracked as he screamed, You want a soundbite? Here it is. I love Robyn, and I'm not sorry about it. I regret ever believing the others were in it for the right reasons. With that, he pulled the microphone off his shirt and flung it to the ground. He didn't wait for Suki to reply. He didn't even look at her. Instead, he strode off the set, his boots thudding against the studio floor as he disappeared into the night, cursing to himself. The studio descended into silence. The camera continued rolling. Suki sat frozen, her face visibly shocked, though her poise didn't completely shatter. She breathed slowly out, then delicately shut her notebook. In the green room backstage, the whole exchange was being live-streamed on a silent monitor. Janelle sat with her arms clasped tightly about her. Her face was pale, but her eyes flared with a compound fire, grief, anger, and vindication. Without looking at anyone, she murmured, "He's falling apart." And Robyn's just standing there. Christine arrived a moment later, her mouth agape, shocked at what she had just seen. "That wasn't an interview," she said, her voice shaking. "That was a meltdown. That was Kody finally letting the world see exactly who he is." In the corner of the room, Meri stood silently, arms crossed also, but her position slumped with fatigue. She gazed at the floor, then slowly lifted her eyes. Her voice was not much louder. "And that's why we left." No one else said anything. The silence that followed did not require explanations. It attested to what many had long suspected. The Brown family had already broken. What the world witnessed now wasn't the breaking point. It was the aftermath. And then there was more. That Meri Brown and Janelle Brown had both gone on to change their names after splitting from Kody Brown was not that surprising. After all that had transpired, both women have moved on, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. They now reside away from Kody and his sole remaining wife, Robyn Brown. Together with Christine Brown Woolley, the third wife of Kody, who divorced him in 2021 and wed David Woolley in 2023, all three women are seemingly prospering in their post-polygamy lives. It's typical to go back to a maiden name following divorce, but the sister wives situation is more complex. There are common children, years of history, and religious ties. Legal considerations only complicated matters. In 2014, Kody and Meri legally divorced each other, although they were still spiritually married, so Kody could marry Robyn and adopt her 3 children from another relationship. Janelle and Christine, although never formally married to Kody, continued to use the Brown surname. When Christine departed, it was a domino effect. Meri and Janelle, who had long been trapped in the marriage, finally left. They had never really considered breaking up, partly because of their religious convictions and the labyrinth of polygamy. But the fissures were too deep to stay. The COVID-19 pandemic widened those cracks. Kody's inconsistent policies and blatant favoritism hastened the deterioration of his relationships. Christine took the first step out, and shortly thereafter, Meri and Janelle did the same. Meri relocated to Parowan, Utah, where she currently operates her late mother's bed and breakfast, Lizzie's Heritage Inn. Janelle moved to North Carolina with her daughter Madison and purchased an acre of land. Meri and Janelle have started a new venture, TADA Farms, together. They also flipped their interest in the Coyote Pass property, land Kody had purchased in 2018 with big plans for the family. Work on it had stagnated, infuriating the women. With the sale complete, Meri and Janelle severed the final financial connection to Kody. They just wanted to move on. Now that they have their share of the profits and no common business interests remain, there's not much linking them to Kody anymore. Meri, whose original last name is Barber, said she doesn't think she'll change her last name, at least not yet. In a 2024 Sister Wives episode, she joked about taking her great-great-grandmother's maiden name, Davenport, but unless she gets remarried, she's retaining Brown. In early 2025, Janelle and Christine were both guests on the Rogue Energy podcast and spoke about name changes. Janelle said she would always be a Brown because her kids share that name. Christine indicated that it was a complicated legal process to change her name, but it was symbolically significant. Janelle stated she did not plan to remarry, meaning she'd never not be a Brown. For Meri and Janelle, the name Brown was more than just a marital label. It became part of who they were, part of what gave their children an identity and bound the family together for years. But now, the name carries a different meaning. It marks not just who they were, but what they chose to leave behind. Christine still maintains the name Christine Brown Woolley on Instagram, adding Brown to her public persona. Although it is not known if this is still her official name or just used on social media, it is certain that the Brown name is of immense personal and public importance. It is both an association to her children and a familiar aspect of her persona. Among the most well-known people linked to the Brown surname are Christine, Meri, Janelle, Kody, and Robyn. Even after Christine's remarriage, Christine Brown is the most widely recognized name for her. The same case can be argued for the Brown children, who can legally be said to have changed their names, but are still generally known to be members of the Brown family. For business purposes and public identification, particularly as they venture into projects outside the show, it might be worth keeping the Brown name intact. It maintains continuity and identifies them, especially in professional environments related to sister wives. Surprisingly, Kody and Robyn Brown are now more like outsiders than core members. Kody, who had 4 wives, watched his family dynamics start to change significantly in recent years. Robyn came into the family in 2010 after the previous marriages of Meri, Janelle, and Christine in the early 1990s. Meri, Kody's sole legal wife, consented to divorce him so that he could legally marry Robyn and adopt her children. Kody's preference for Robyn and his management of crucial situations, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic, created increasing tensions. Christine left the marriage in 2021, then Janelle in 2022, and Meri in 2023. During their union, the family bought a house on Coyote Pass in 2018 for $820,000. Kody and Robyn resided there until late 2024, ultimately selling it in April 2025 for $1.5 million. The property led to further division with Meri and Janelle, both feeling betrayed by Kody's choices. Sister Wives, Season 19 established that Kody has gone out of his way to distance himself from the remaining family members. He currently lives almost all of the time with Robyn and their 5 children, and doesn't even bother making an effort to reconnect with his ex-wives or other relatives. He frequently is angry and resentful toward his ex-wives, sometimes being sarcastic and defensive in defending his actions, especially his absolute commitment to Robyn, something many consider a red flag. Kody seems hesitant to take responsibility for the repercussions of his decisions, and his original family members shun him more and more, regarding him as emotionally unavailable and unstable. The loss of Garrison Brown in March 2024 was a specifically traumatic episode for the family. Garrison, the son of Kody and Janelle, took his own life when his relationship with Kody was at its lowest. He had long expressed anger and bitterness towards his father. After he was cremated, Kody and Janelle agreed to bury his ashes in Wyoming with his grandmother. Kody, Robyn, and 4 of the 5 children flew to Kody, Wyoming, for local sightseeing prior to the funeral. Their fans, including myself, were disturbed by many of their actions during this period. Especially disturbing was the failure to include Garrison's ashes on most of the trip, sparking questions about whether they had been forgotten or misplaced. On Reddit, another user, SlowProduct7860, created a thread in which Sister Wives fans posted about how they disapproved of the handling of the situation. In my opinion, Kody made the journey all about himself and his grief, not fittingly paying tribute to Garrison's memory. This episode put more distance between him and Robyn, along with the rest of the family and quite a number of viewers. I was actually upset at how Kody and Robyn treated Garrison's death. Their moves appeared to further distance them from the rest of the family, who are more united than ever. With the recent purchase of the Coyote Pass property, it's increasingly apparent that Christine, Janelle, and Meri are slowly cutting themselves loose from Kody and Robyn. Now that Janelle and Meri each have their cut of the money from the sale, they've backed out of any further activity with Kody's business enterprises. The only thing that connects Kody to his previous wives at this point is their children. And even here, his engagement is minimal at best. He always loved the attention, but now seems bitter that his ex-wives have progressed. Without his polygamous lifestyle, Kody is all that remains a monogamist and is thereby considerably diminished in importance to sister wives. Now, the lives of Christine, Janelle, and Meri are considerably more popular. Kody and Robyn, who were formerly focal points, are more and more relegated to the background. What's made Kody increasingly an outsider is his attitude, particularly during the time of Garrison's passing and the tell-all segments of season 19. His defensiveness, playing favorites, and unwillingness to admit fault have all become huge red flags. At the tell-all, host Suki Krishnan sat down with Kody. But rather than fielding her reflective questions, he grew argumentative and combative. For years, we had listened to him teach that love should be multiplied. But now, when it was time to examine how things went wrong, Kody redirected the dialogue onto Suki. At one point, he even interrupted her in mid-sentence. You could sense Suki trying her best to remain calm, even as Kody's anger overboiled. Kody had already implored the family members to put aside their differences in the episodes regarding Garrison. But what he did during the reunion was a far cry from sending out that kind of message. His ire was evident, and he did not hesitate to make unsuitable and sometimes crude comments. He even called himself one who's double-burning individuals, barging through life in rage, which appalled most fans and was deemed offensive. It's especially alarming considering the emotional topic of Garrison's death. Even weeks after the disaster, Kody demonstrated no maturity. Instead of sitting down and talking things through with empathy, he became aggressive and dictatorial, yelling and not willing to have a genuine conversation. Everyone wondered why Suki didn't simply leave. Rather than encouraging harmony or providing closure, Kody used the reunion as a platform to air his grievances. Not surprisingly, he controlled the first half of the tell-all, as he usually does, ensuring that the focus remained firmly on him. But what shocked viewers most was his ongoing fixation on Robyn. In an unvarnished moment of candor, Kody confessed that he can't stop comparing Robyn to his former wives. That admission left viewers, and probably Christine, Janelle, and Meri, aghast. Instead of serving to enlighten viewers about his perspective, he sounded tone-deaf and narcissistic, obsessed with complimenting Robyn while belittling all the others. These comparisons, ranging from physical appearance to emotional bond, only serve to make matters worse. It's no secret Robyn has become the focus of Kody's life, and to many viewers, the source of the family's dysfunction. Kody never tried to hide the fact that Robyn was his favorite, but now he's making it painfully clear. His attitude and words at the reunion did not go to mending fences. Rather, they fueled the fire and had people wondering what's really happening behind closed doors. In fact, if anything, Kody's moves have only served to solidify that he and Robyn are on the outside looking in, and Christine, Janelle, and Meri have taken their places in the limelight with courage and autonomy. Kody's behavior during the tell-all raised serious questions about the family's true dynamics and left many viewers feeling uncomfortable. What was supposed to be a moment of reflection turned into something much more unsettling. At one point, Kody, visibly emotional, told host Sukanya Krishnan, "My relationship with Robyn has a divine element, and we've been punished for it." He insisted that their bond was special, even spiritual, yet expressed bitterness over how others have responded to it. As soon as the tell-all aired, social media lit up with reactions. Viewers expressed a mix of shock, secondhand embarrassment, and frustration. One user commented, "Robyn's greed and constant need for attention destroyed this family." Another added, "I'm genuinely happy for the first 3 wives who left. Kody and wife number 4 bring nothing to the show and should be removed immediately." But the controversy wasn't solely over Kody's fixation on Robyn. His constant comparisons and admissions provided insight into how he really perceives his relationships. One thing stood out clearly. In Kody's universe, Robyn isn't merely one of the wives. She's the wife, the favorite, the so-called golden girl. If this tell-all was supposed to bring things into focus or closure, it accomplished the opposite. Instead, Kody's candid admissions only ratified what many have long suspected. His profound emotional investment in Robyn has cost everyone else dearly. Anything but a shared family dynamic, the Brown family now appears to orbit exclusively around Robyn, with Kody happily circling her. Ultimately, Kody's own testimony revealed the true tale, one of obsession, favoritism, and emotional disproportion. What do you think? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more stories like this. Thanks for watching.